He named me Antonious. I was just a little baby when he named me. My father was a Roman knight. I looked up to my father. I wanted to be a knight as well in the Roman military. I grew up in a home and a country, the Roman Empire. You may have heard of it. We considered ourselves the elite. There was a spirit of nationalism that swept our land. No country, no race was better than a Roman. When I grew up, I joined the military. And they taught us to fight with viciousness, with determination, with commitment. We would go into battle to win. And we would do whatever it took to win. I'm telling you, you would not want to be at the end of my spear, nor would you want to be in the path of my sword. I was taught to win. I was taught to kill the enemy. And anyone who stood in the way of Rome was our enemy. I was serving Rome in another country. There were Jewish rebellions taking place. And I was sent there with others to stomp it out. After 2.5 years, I came home. My wife informed me that she had become a follower of the way. I asked her, what do you mean, a follower of the way? She said she had committed herself to following Jesus Christ of Nazareth, persecuted, crucified, and raised on the 3rd day. I looked at her and I said, you renounce that right now. No person in my house will be one of those people of the way. I was just about ready to take my spear if she did not renounce it and run it through her. She looked at me and she said, you can take my life, but I will not renounce my commitments and my faith to follow Jesus of Nazareth. I observed her for 8 months. I looked at the people she was hanging out with. And I noticed that they were different. They were highly committed to their Christian faith. I saw things that I admired. And I have to say that after 8.5 months, I too became one of those people of the way. I made a faith commitment. It was not an easy decision. You see, I was a Roman soldier. I was a part of the Roman military. And when I came to know Jesus Christ, as I would be in this little house church between 13 and 18 people, they emphasized, you cannot serve two masters. Over and over again, they emphasized, we cannot serve two masters. So I began to ask, What does that mean for me? I came to the conclusion it was a very difficult decision. There was doubt in my mind about the decision that I was going to make. But I concluded that being in the military was contrary to the teachings of Jesus Christ. And for me, it meant that I would leave the Roman army. And I have to say that most Christians, if not all Christians, who were in the military left. Some of us were mocked. They called us cowards. They said things like, "You are unpatriotic." When I left the military, I could not find a job. They saw me as a traitor to the Roman Empire. My nephew, in AD 100, my nephew, when he too converted to following Christ, and he too put his sword aside, they went after him because there was a law that said anyone who leaves the military, you can put to death. My nephew paid the ultimate price for following Jesus Christ and for forsaking the Roman military. My neighbor, one morning I heard my name, Antonious! Antonious, wait! He came up to me and he said, Antonious, you people of the way, you are born in the flesh, but you do not live according to the desires of the flesh. You live by the Roman laws, but you live above them. You love all people, but not all love you back. Many hate you. You are poor, but you make others rich. You are hated by all, but no one can give a reason for their hatred of you. One of our teachers, he was trained and taught by one of the apostles. He taught us that death is a debt that all of us will have to pay anyway. How do you want to die? Jesus. So, the first thing that we were taught, that I was taught, was that we could not serve two masters. That is impossible. Then the other thing that I think people took note of was the fact that we love each other. Many Romans would say things like, "See how they love each other." Yes, it is true that we loved each other. We had to love each other. When one of our families would lose a spouse for their convictions, we had to pull together to support that widow. When I could not find a job and I could not put food on my table, one of my other brothers would come and give us some food. When I had more than we could eat and I saw another without food, I would take food to them. But not only did we help each other, we looked outside of our fellowship of the people of the way, and we helped the widow, we helped the elderly, the sick, the shipwrecked, the orphans. You see, there were needs all over. My neighbor, someone down the road. We just helped people wherever they were at in the name of Jesus. We helped them, and they saw the love that was shining from us. Jesus taught that we are to love one another. Jesus said, "Bless those who persecute you." When I left the military, I had a lot of persecution. Jesus said, "Antonious, you have to learn to love your enemy. You must." I'm telling you, I, as a military person who grew up in a military home, I knew what a command was. And if my superior said, "Antonious, you go out there and you fight those guys to death. You go out and fight," I would follow those instructions. Because if I did not follow those instructions, I would have to pay a price when I came back. Jesus, love your enemy, is a command. Bless those who persecute you is a command. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and body. That is a command. We did not have to worry or think about what is the reason behind what Jesus said. We did not worry about the reasons why he said it. We understood it as command, and we sought to the best of our ability to fulfill what the Lord said. And that's why we were committed to helping all people, both our brothers and sisters in the faith, but those who were outside of the faith. There was one other thing that I think the Romans saw in us, a characteristic. They saw that we had childlike faith. Jesus commanded, and we did. You see, I don't know how it is in your day, but when I was growing up in the Roman Empire, I saw and observed things, both within the military and in life in general. Things moved from simple to complex. Simplicity here, but everything wants to move to complexity. I don't know if you have to struggle with that. I struggle with that. It is not easy to maintain a childlike trust in God. That He, Jesus, His Word, is as good as He is. And He is as good as His Word is. Jesus said things like, "I will never leave you, nor forsake you. I will be with you." when your spouse or your nephew or your son or daughter is killed or persecuted for your faith, can you still trust God? Childlike faith help us to trust in God. And did not the Apostle Paul say, nothing can separate you from the love of God, not death, nor angels or principalities. Nothing can separate you from the love of God. We believe that with our whole heart. We believe that even in death, God was with us, and He would carry us home. It is interesting that these small house churches, 13, 20 people, we began to become more numerous. People wonder, why are the Christians becoming more numerous in our land? I think this is the reason. Here's the reason. We, followers of the way, we were committed to following Jesus Christ, as He was committed to dying on the cross for us. No Roman was willing to lay down their life for any of their gods. They had lots of gods, but not one of them was worthy of dying for. And yet we Christians, we people of the way, we were willing to die for our God. We were willing to suffer and die if called on. And that became a witness to the power of Christ in us. The Apostle Paul said, to live is Christ, to die is gain. We believe that in death we gain, because we were in the kingdom of God, and we were going to be with Him forever and ever. I think, my friends, now you have a little bit of an understanding of what it meant for me to live as a first century Christian. It was not easy. It was very difficult. It was tempting on occasion to opt out. But by God's grace and by His power, I was able to stand firm. And I have no regrets. I have no regrets. So what made us different was the contrast of our life. You cannot serve two masters. Love one another. Yeah. And childlike faith. That got us through. Thank you for hearing me out this morning. I have to return to my people.